Hey guys, Charles Walker here. So in this video, I want to talk about another kind of controversial topic in the sense that people probably not like what I have to say about it. And I want to say, before you grab your pitchforks, it's from a place of love, I swear. So the topic of this video is Smites today, and are they broken? And when I say a place of love, I really do love them. Paladins are my second favorite class, and if you ever played a Paladin, smiting is their number one defining trait, and my lord, they are awesome. Well, the great things about them is you could do insane amounts of damage, but you have limited spell slots, so it is kind of balanced in that sense, but done a certain way, they could be incredibly powerful. So I want to talk about that and what really smites are starting out. So smites, there are two different kinds. There are originally the Paladin smites, which are divine smites. Then there are the other smites, which are actual spell slots. So the difference is the wording and the fact that the spell smites take a bonus action to do. Now, they vary in abilities, like the spell slot ones, they take a bonus action, so you are limited to only one a turn, and also the fact that they can do some crazy effects, like there's one that blinds you, one that does thunder damage, one that does fire damage, one that straight banishes something. They're amazing. I love them. But I don't think they are too bad, but the Divine Smite, this is where the wording of it can be crazy. And that is, while you have to use a bonus action to use them smites, so if you are going to hit something with it, it's pretty much you're going to say so ahead of time. It's like a ranger spell where it takes a bonus action to use, and it's when you hit a creature, the next attack you make on a creature. Divine Smites is when you hit a creature, you can expend a spell slot to do another 2d8 of damage. That's where it gets crazy, because you can not use a smite at all until you crit, then absolutely destroy something instantly. Now, you're thinking, yeah, that's awesome. Why not? This is why, because my experience with it, if done right, it could be insanely powerful, and combat could be just a breeze. And for example of that is I wanted to talk about what I think is about the max damage for smites alone. And a problem is a distinction that I've seen some DMs argue about is if the Divine Smite even counts as a spell. And if it doesn't, that means you could stack two smites on top of each other. And also, since you do it on a hit, you can also do it for each attack you make. So, the average damage, I'd say, is a smite does cap out at 5d8. So, that'll be a 4th level slot. And most paladins I deal with, they do sword and shield. So I had it be, first starting out, it's 1d8 sword damage plus 7, assuming you have max strength and you have the dueling fighting style. Then there's the 11th level ability where you just add a whole other 1d8 of radiant damage on any hit you make, which is pretty crazy in itself. Then you add 5d8 on top of that, so that's 7d8 of damage. So that's the lowest you could do, 14 damage. The average, 35. Max amount of damage, 63 points of damage. That instantly doubles all that. So that could be 123 points of damage on a crit. So that is going to knock a good chunk out of anything you're fighting, if not kill it. And if you put a smite on top of that, say you put the most powerful banishing smite on it, that will be another 5d10 of damage, doubled to 10d10. And that is literally over 200 points of damage to one enemy, which would kill most things you fight. And if you don't, if you don't, the Banishing Smite ability is if you reduce something to under 50 hit points, it is banished. And if it's not from this native plane existence, it's gone. And at the point you're going to have a 5th level smite, most things you're going to fight are going to be extra dimensional terrors. So yeah, more than likely that's going to banish that indefinitely. And you'll never see it again. Fight over. And what made me realize this is Eldritch Smite also functions similar to that, which is a Warlock ability. And it does a DA equal to every spell slot you cast it at, which Warlocks, they cap out at 5 for this one. So it's going to be 5d8 damage plus the weapon die, and it knocks anything smaller than a huge prone. This thing can knock an adult dragon on its butt instantly. No save at all. So that's pretty crazy in itself. And I had our warlock literally at level 5, one shot of rock from this ability at the very first round of combat, and I'm just like, all right, I guess the night's over. Everyone go home. I didn't know what to do, so that was a concern I had when I noticed that. Thinking back to when I dealt with Paladins before and what other new DMs deal with, they could potentially just get every encounter they run completely sideswiped from Paladins built for this. Because all this said, you can build characters to Smite specifically and very easily with Paladins, because there's two that mix really well with Paladins that could do this. And that is Champion Fighters and Hexblade Warlocks. Hexblade Warlocks, because of their curse, you can do crit on a 19 or 20. And same with Champion Fighters, but it is a level 3 ability, so harder to get. But for Hexblades, that's just a one level dip, and instantly they got better at critting things. So yeah, you could crit really easily with that. And there's also other ways to get smites, like there's clerics can get them, certain tiefling variants can get them. So yeah, I didn't want to make this a whole rant on them, but I just wanted to say, if not careful, they could completely screw party balance. So that is my little spill on them and what I did to counteract this. And what I did was I kind of made an all-encompassing rule that was also taking care of another issue I had, which was 2 feats in particular, which is Great Weapon Master and Sharpshooter, which are great feats. If you never looked at them before, look at them. They're very good. The problem is I had a lot of players that would roll like over 20 to hit and say, oh, I did that. I call it Great Weapon Master. And what that does is you take a -5 to a roll and do another 10 points of damage. So potentially you could do an insane amount of damage. So on top of all smiting, you could add a whole another 10 to it, which could only add to it. So that's kind of made me call the rule of, I made what I call the called shot rule, where it's basically, if you're going to add a spell or ability to something, you have to call it before you attack. And if it's a paladin spell, I'm not going to make you expend the spell slot, but I'm just saying you should say beforehand. And a lot of people have had mixed feelings about that, and if you do, that's fine. But that is my spill on it, because I do feel like that is a little broken in the sense that you could ruin nearly any combat a DM throws at you if you build a character a certain way, or you just get a bunch of clutch crits, because that's happened to pretty much a lot of combats I ran before I had this rule in place. And it's not to make Paladins weaker. Paladins are still extremely powerful. Like, I think they're one of the most powerful classes in the game. They're a tank, they can heal, and they can do the most DPS out of all tanks, in my opinion. So yeah, that's absolutely insane to me. So I think this is a good way to balance them out and make them mortal. And it really is out of a place of love, because I do love Paladins. Other than Monk, they are my absolute favorite class. But yeah, insane amounts of damage. Because that's what I recommend if you're a new DM. Have Divine Smite count as a spell. That one, it's a little iffy on, but that's who I count it as, because if not, you're not even critting. You could still do, like, from what I was talking about earlier, like 14d8 just to one enemy in one turn. So that's going to kill most things you fight anyways. And I'm not even factoring the Holy Weapon spell, which does another 2d8 of damage on top of all your hits. It's a 5th level slot, but still that damage though. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about, my little spill. And like I said, it is out of place of love. I love Paladins, but I feel like that is a little broken mechanic. And that's fine. There is some things in D&D that can be broken. It's not a perfectly balanced game. And when you just have so much content, it is hard to balance it all. And that's not a bad thing, but it comes down to the DM and what they want to do with it in the end. Because DM I play my Paladin under, he lets me do this crit rule, and I think it's insane. And he once used a Paladin against me who literally in one round stacked like 3 smites on top of each other and did over 100 points of damage to me. In that combat alone, I think I took like 300 damage, and I was barely keeping myself alive. And that was from the druid, myself, and someone else all pumping healing spells into me. And oh my god. So it's a double-edged sword, and that's what I say to DMs that are experiencing this. Use it against your party. If you don't want to put this limit on them, give enemies you give them smite-like abilities. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And yeah, I love Paladins, but this is just something I wanted to talk about. And if you had experience with this, let me know in the comments, like what your TM did, or just insane clutch crit stories you have, because I do love those. That is one aspect I love about it, the clutch crit smites. That feels so good. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.